We're in session of cause number 330608. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Jatan Duran Holland. We have Mr. Jatan Holland appearing via Zoom. Mr. Holland, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Holland, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
You may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Holland, you're represented in this case by your attorney, Attorney Wright Kimler. Attorney Kimler, how are you doing?
Good, John, thank you.
Okay. Attorney Kimler, do you waive a record in Mr. Holland's case?
No way.
Okay. Mr. Holland, I have before me an information that alleges that on or about June 11th of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Holland, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, Mr. Holland, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty. Guilty.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Mr. Holland, I also have before me a document that is titled the misdemeanor plea admonishments. Now, Mr. Kimler, I see you checked two boxes on page 1, and I think actually only one box is applicable, and that's the top box.
Yeah, I checked the Class B DWI. The district attorney must have checked the correct one.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Holland, do I have your permission to erase the wrong box?
Yes.
And Mr. Kimberly, do I have your permission as well?
Yes, Your Honor, of course.
Okay. What about not even a judicial magistrate? Okay. Mr. Holland, on page 2 of this, well, let me do this here since you have both boxes checked. This is a Class A misdemeanor, and on this document, it states that the range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor is confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 1 year, a fine not to exceed $1,000, or both such confinement and fine. Do you understand your range of punishment?
Yes.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials, JH, on a line next to a box that is checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes.
And on the next page of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Did you sign this document?
Yes.
And on the next document, which is titled the trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, there's a signature below, well, above the line that's titled defendant. Did you sign this document as well?
Yes. Yes.
And at the top of this document, there are two boxes that are checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And the second box that's checked states that you are waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Mr. Holland, did you sign a document out there on paper that is titled the discovery certification?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Holland.
We provided that to the bailiff, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Holland, prior to signing and initialing these documents that I have just mentioned, did your attorney, Mr. Kimler, go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Kimler, you have advised and counseled Mr. Holland. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Holland, your attorney, Mr. Kimler, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Holland, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of guilty and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
60 days county jail is to run concurrently with cause number 19-31483.
Okay. He didn't have,
I don't show a magistrate or anything. So,
no appointment of counsel. No, that's on the magistrate. Mr. Holland, the state is offering that you serve 60 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You will be given credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law. The court cost in this case, Mr. Holland, is $407. Mr. Holland, would you be able to pay the $407?
No.
Okay, now, Mr. Holland, I need to ask you some questions. Mr. Holland, are you currently employed?
No, sir.
And do you have, are you receiving any type of governmental benefits such as Medicaid,
No, sir.
SSI,
No, sir.
SNAP,
No, sir.
TANF,
No, sir.
and do you reside in public housing?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, Mr. Holland, do you have any forms of income?
Trustee job.
No, I'm just saying outside of,
No.
okay, so you have no income. And now, in essence, in reference to your bills, do you have any expenses that you have to pay? For example, rent or anything of that nature?
No, sir, not right now.
Okay, no utility bills, et cetera. And child support expenses?
No, sir.
Okay, so you have no bills, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you
so-
have food, I guess, right? You have your food bill. You'd have to pay for food to eat,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Okay, and so what are you paying a month on food?
Probably about $100, $200.
About $100? Okay. Now, Mr. Holland, the court is going to find that you are indigent pursuant to Article 42.15. And because the court is finding that you're indigent pursuant to that article, the court costs in this case will be waived, which means you will not have to pay it.
Okay.
So, Mr. Holland, I'll just restate what I stated earlier. The state is offering that you serve 60 days in the Jefferson County Jail. You'll be given credit for any time that you're entitled to get by law. And the court costs in this case will be waived pursuant to Article 42.15 of the Code of Criminal Procedure because the court has found that you are indigent. Mr. Holland, do you understand the state offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Holland, I'll follow the plea bargain. And Mr. Holland, this case will also run concurrent with cause number 19-31483. Mr. Holland, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Holland, this will conclude your case. Please follow the bailiff, and you have a blessed day.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, take care, man.
All right.